sitting next to me, and though she laughs, I always see her pain. So young at 21, she seems alone, afraid and frightened of a dream. And when she's down, knocks me to the ground. And by the way, I'd love for her to tell me we're not alone. Have another drink on me, please be kind in your thoughts of me. Glass to glass to Jesus and to life and love, at least to you and me. And when she's down, she knocks me to the ground. And by the way, I'd love for her to tell me we're not alone. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, ba. Kiss me once and once again, once for love and one more time for pain. Hold me closer to your heart, remembering we'll never be the same. And when I'm down, crawling on the ground. And by the way, I'd love for her to tell me we're not alone. Not alone, no, 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 no. Hey!
Hey, this is Jimmy Jive, and you're listening to Motor City Rock Talk. Today, I have a guitarist from one of the bands I remember seeing back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s. One of my favorites, as a matter of fact. And luckily for me, one of my friends that I interviewed, Terry Burns from the Corktown Pope, was able to turn me on to this guy. I was always hoping to get somebody from this band on the show. So today, my guest is the guitarist from that band, or one of the guitarists, I should say, Mr. Jason Kuehn. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Jimmy. Thanks so much for having me on.
No, my pleasure. Okay, well, let's start out with basically a little background about yourself, basically where you're from originally, and what drew you to music, specifically playing guitar.
Well, I grew up on the mean streets of Livonia, so, you know, that really turned me into quite a thug. But my first, I don't know, I've always been drawn to music, and when I was 12 years old, got a Beatles record, and I saw, you know, back in those days, we'd get the record and, you know, scour it for pictures and information and etc. And I saw this guy's name on the bottom, produced by George Martin, and I thought, what is that guy? And then when I found out what he did, I was like, that's what I want to be when I grow up.
More importantly than being a musician?
At the time, yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I always loved music, and I always played a musical instrument, and I always wanted to be in a band, but I always, from the get, I came to it with the idea that I would become a producer, as you know, because I figured on one hand, you know, if band thing didn't work out or it fizzled out, or you know, say we got you know successful on a big scale, how long was that going to last?
Sure.
So I always figured that you know being a producer was something that would last, and I have to say recording music is probably my number one passion.
broken heart, I walk alone, satisfied with the love I've known. This empty soul gets so hard to find. No release, I got you on my mind. Oh, oh, oh. No, no, no. Oh, I can't let you go. I turn to you, and you're not there. Hours go by, and I'll stay. I think of you. You cannot see what this love has done to me. Whoa, oh, no, no. Oh, I can't let you go. No. Pain I feel, but deep within, the blood that pours, just another sin. I turn my head to a darkened sky, fall to my knees and I cry. Oh. Let you go. I know I'll never let you go, 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 go. No.
Passion. I mean, I love playing the guitar for sure, and I love playing live. But being in a studio when you're around people making music, and then it's, you know, something magical happens. There's nothing better than that. Nothing that can beat that. I don't think, for me.
Oh, okay.
Personally,
that's cool. Now, is that what you're doing now, more or less, or are you playing still in any kind of way other than? I know you're playing in the Corktown Popes, but that's kind of an on and off thing because I know it's, you know, Terry's got other things going on too.
I've been a recording engineer producer since my mid-20s, I guess. So yeah, I have a studio, a place called Blend Productions, and we also do a lot of video productions these days as well. So I got my hand into video production along the way. Yeah, so yeah, and you know, for the past few years I've been doing the Corktown Popes, having a lot of fun with those guys. That was a complete pleasure to do that.
Right.
You know, we had a lot of fun doing that. And recently, it's kind of funny that you asked me to do this now. Recently, I got together with Graham from the original Rob Roy, because Graham and I grew up together, so we've been friends since I was little. We moved across the street when I was 11. So
he's from the Livonia area also?
Yeah, well, he was born in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
And moved to Detroit proper when he was 3, and then moved to Livonia when he was, 14?
Was the band Rob Roy basically based out of Livonia? I'm from Redford, so I mean, I didn't realize it was, I thought you guys were more of an East Side band. So you West Side, more or less?
We're West Side, yeah. Mike Martin, who was the other, Mike and Graham had a band called The Lords that had some success. Mm-hmm. And so Mike Martin and Graham Strachan left The Lords and put Rob Roy together with me and Perez Morris on drums Eric Porter on bass. And so Mike was from Northwest Detroit. Perez was from Detroit. Graham and I were from Livonia, and was from Novi, of all places. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were definitely more a West Side band as far as where we were, from.
Right,
right. We spent a lot of time playing on the East Side.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I'm from the West Side, and I don't remember ever seeing you play on the West Side, specifically. I mean, I'm not saying you didn't. The Token Lounge, the Studio Lounge back in those days, were those clubs you frequented at all? Or are we talking more or less East Side because of the scene being bigger and better at that time?
I think we fit in better on the East Side with what we were doing for whatever reason, so we ended up there more. But we did play the Token a little bit, in the studio a little bit. But, we spent a lot of time in Hamtramck, too, for sure.
Right. I think that's where I saw you. Probably Paychecks, Lily's, one of those kind of places. Because my band
we
at the
spent a lot of time Paychecks, Lily's, Hamtramck Pub. Mm-hmm. We also spent a lot of time playing at the Ritz.
Doesn't understand me now, she's run away. She thought I didn't want her hanging round. Every night and day's a little hard for me. There's a time for love and I need some time to play me a melody. Take me to a symphony. I'm tired of mediocrity. I wanna be happy. She doesn't like to see me when I'm falling down drunk. She thinks I blame her for the way I am. Every cut gets deeper for me every day. No time for hope, I need some time to cry me a memory. All I want is a harmony to satisfy curiosity. All I wanna be is happy. Take me to the symphony so I can get my history. I wanna be happy. Oh, that's been set free. I finally found my destiny. All I hope to be is happy. It's always been a mystery, and I've always been a misery. All I wanna be is happy. In Roseville, which was a cool venue at the time, and we opened up for a lot of national acts at the Ritz.
Who were some of those acts? Do you remember?
Stray Cats, Boy, why can't I think of some of them? Yeah, it's a long time ago. Boy, that's funny. I'm not remembering, but those days at the Ritz were pretty hazy.
Yeah, I know. And there were a lot of bands that played. Did you play like, what was the other place over there? Did you play like Harpo's at all? Did you play anything?
Actually, our first gig was at Harpo's. Yeah, our first gig was at Harpo's, of all places. We opened up for Adrenaline at Harpo's.
Oh, okay.
And it was our first show. And boy, what else? New York, over.
That was the place I was thinking. New York, right. Yeah, those were a couple major mainstay type of clubs. Now, as far as Rob Roy and formation of the band, did you guys try to emulate any other type of national act? In other words, did you say, hey, we want to be like this? I don't mean, copy another band, but did you want to be more of a pop band, rock band, dance rock? Was there any mindset to that at the time?
No, not really. And actually, when we first got going, I think we were doing this thing. It was almost kind of, I wouldn't say cowpunk, but we did like, a lot of jangly guitars, melodic songs, definitely rock and roll.
Right.
It was more, now I'm thinking of the band, like, remember the Bodines? That was one of the bands we warmed up for at the Ritz. Kind of like the Bodines in a way.
Yeah, that's kind of what I remember too. When you say jangly rock, it was like that. You weren't hard rock, but you weren't soft rock. And I think that's what was a big attraction to the band for a lot of people, because, it was very straight ahead, but it was very melody oriented, let's say. It was very poppy and very well put together. Now, as far as that, who were the main writers? Were you one of the main writers, or did Graham do it? Who wrote most of the material?
Graham and Mike, I would say, did the majority of it, but I wrote quite a bit as well. Graham and Mike would write together, and then I'd bring my stuff in and we'd hammer it out. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I always respected Graham and Mike's songwriting ability, because I really felt like they were craftsmen at that, and there weren't many other bands. There are a lot of bands that I love, but I didn't know another band in town like us where the songs were as crafted.
What if I were wealthy? What if I belonged? I've been here a month now. I finally settled in. Rooms are claustrophobic, and the walls are paper thin. I can hear them making breakfast. I hear them all the time. Seems like I know them. Can I cross that line this time? What if I were lovely? What if I were a swan? What if I were studious? What if I belonged? Clock on the walls, an imitation. Couch is on loan. My curtains are filthy, and I still don't have a phone. If I did, I might call them, but they don't need my advice. There's something about them, that makes me sigh every time. What if I were well? just ain't right. I wish I could be with them. Maybe tonight, maybe tonight. What if I were funny? What if I wrote a song? What if I were curious? What if I belong? What if I belong?
Right.
And I say that, and I feel like I can say that because it was Graham and Mike doing that, you know, and they were just great at it. They were just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I think the level of songwriting, you know, was exceptional, and to this day, it really surprised me that it didn't go national, you know, beyond what it did, because it was so catchy and so popular. I mean, everybody I knew of you guys. That, you know, there wasn't anybody that, you know, you could say Robb Roy and would say, huh? They all knew who you were. Did you get any kind of airplay as far as that, locally or nationally?
Well, we got, you know, they used to have these shows on like Riff and LZ, I think, where they'd have an hour on Sunday night or something doing local stuff. So we were on those, you know, quite regularly with whatever was going on. In 1989, Yamaha used to have this contest every year called Soundcheck, where they picked top 4 unsigned bands in the country. So in 1989, we were picked as one of the top 4 unsigned bands in the country. And we went to LA and made a TV show and stuff. And then we started to get courted by a couple major labels. And for whatever reason, everything fell through. You know, it's just one of those music stories where don't happen for whatever reason.
Right, yeah. That's unfortunate. Because like I say, out of the bands that I remember from the time, you guys were one of the ones I really felt were on the precipice of definitely being able to be signed and be a national type of act. Because you had it all together. I mean, you know, musically, the look, you know, stage presentation, everything was there, you know, so. Well,
thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we worked our tails off making sure that all the pistons were firing as far as our music and our show, for sure.
Do you remember who some of the local acts that would have been like supporting you in those days, and did you have much say in who you picked? In other words, to like maybe correlate along with what you were doing?
We didn't really have a lot of say in that, or I'm not remembering how that went down. I probably wasn't in that end of things so much, right. But I don't know. I do feel like those were the days we had so much fun with the other bands in town. Were all great, and there was a scene. You know, the scene was pretty cohesive.
Inside of your box again. energy splits in a tin foil, nature's blue. How come you can't sit still? It's time to drop another pill inside of your box again, leveling out with the red on lip. How in the world you gonna know? Anytime you could blow. Wanna feel alright, but how you gonna know? Wanna feel alright, how come you can't sit still? It's time to drop another pill inside of your box again, leveling out with the red on lid. Mama don't understand, Daddy don't understand. Doctor got an evil plan.
Everybody knew each other and supported each other. It was a good time.
As far as recordings, we had talked a little bit off air about you guys had put out more or less singles at that time, and then later on they put on some CDs. What was the mindset for that? I mean, was that for a reason of expense, or was that for a reason of it would be easier to promote that way?
Well, you know, back in those days, it was not that many bands put out records like they do these days.
Mhm.
And our mindset too was we were always making demos that I would record and giving them to our manager, and we were always thinking, well, we're gonna get a record deal, so we didn't bother doing it ourselves. And that was sort of the mindset back then, more so than there was a lot of bands that did put out records, but not like it is now. And we were just like, let's get a deal. So, we had a manager and everything. We spent a lot of money, spent all the money we made sending him to New York and LA and stuff to make things happen. And, it just never fired.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So many bands didn't have management, didn't pursue that, wanted to do it on their own. And for you guys to have one and it was doing that for you, being able to get signed surprises me, because like I said, you guys had the talent, the ability, you had everything going. Do you think it was just, we're talking late 80s into 90s, mid 90s. Do you think it was because of anything as far as the musical culture, as far as like maybe grunge coming in that had any kind of effect with that?
At the time, that was a thing we all wondered whether, like, Detroit just wasn't a place where people were looking for bands. It's like the Romantics got out and Rhythm Corps got out to a certain extent, but like that was it. And then our good friends, we used to warm up for them like so much. Toby Red, they got a deal with Capitol. To my understanding, they got a deal with Capitol. They made a fantastic record, but it's like a month before their record got released, the head of marketing at Capitol got fired, so they got a new CMO, and he didn't like Toby Red, so they put the record out, but it wasn't promoted. And then back in those days too, like if you were on a major label and your first record didn't do anything in 2 months, you were done.
Now, is that the album A to Z you're referring to, or the one Into the Light later on with Chad Smith?
Yeah, Into Light. Yeah, with Chad. Yeah.
Because that's funny. I love Toby Red. And they were another one of my favorites from back in the day.
Yeah, they were great, man. They were just killer. But
it's funny. I actually like their first album a little bit better than their second album because it wasn't as produced, and that obviously wasn't a major label thing.
I know what you're saying about that. When I heard, maybe I shouldn't go there, but I don't know if they got treated well on the production side on that record, but the songs were great.
Well, the thing about it was the second record was produced by Gary Spagnola from Bittersweet Alley, and he did a great job on it. There's no doubt, and I would never, say otherwise. But it just seemed to me a little bit more polished than their first album for the type of music they were doing. But I think that should have put them over the top as far as music and music standard. But anyway, so you did a few singles, and where were those recorded at? You mentioned you're a producer and all that. Did you have a studio at that time? Were you recording the band yourself?
The first single was recorded at this studio called Sound Suite that used to be on 6 Mile in Detroit. It was a really cool place. They did a lot of R&B stuff there, but that was a cool studio. It was the first single. And then we did a couple things that I recorded. Just, I didn't really have a studio, but I had the gear, so
right.
We did basement recordings and stuff. But that was about it. We didn't really promote that much, or because our goal was just to get a deal,
right?
And it was always that we were chasing that worm on the hook.
It seemed like you were playing constantly too.
Yeah, that was a crazy time because we would rehearse 2 or 3 nights a week and play 2 nights a week.
Which with a lot of bands, it was unheard of. It was like, first of all, there were so many great bands, it was hard to compete. But you guys didn't have any problem with that, obviously. Playing. Were there certain clubs or bars that you liked playing in over others as far as maybe the sound or atmosphere or, the crowd that would show up?
Well, we loved playing the Ritz because it was just, the sound system was great. The sound guys there were great. We were friends with everybody there. Mm-hmm. And it was a big room. It was a big room, and it seemed to always be full no matter what was going on.
Yeah, in those days.
Right, so loved the Ritz. And there was a place on the west side on 6 Mile and Telegraph called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. That was kind of a strange club because they didn't usually have bands like us there, but we used to play there and we did really well there. We filled the place up regularly. So I liked that place. We liked to play Jaggers because they gave us $1 drinks. But then there was the time. So we were playing there on a weekend. We played Friday night, and then we came in Saturday night to do our show. And the manager came in and said, "Hey guys, I don't know if we can do the $1 drinks for you guys last night because you had 99 drinks."
Oh man, come on! They would write that off. I mean, I don't know what the problem with that is.
We would buy our friends drinks and stuff.
Yeah, right. I get that.
We weren't that bad, but we were having a lot of fun back then.
Oh, of course. Now, as far as playing these clubs, did you ever consider, or had it been done, to make an actual video, MTV style video, live, whatever? Did you guys ever record any kind of video?
Not when I was in the band. It was the 80s. That was like rocket science at the time. So no, we never really did that. There's videos of us, on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We did a show on Channel 7. They used to have Good Afternoon Detroit with John Kelly and Marilyn Turner, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember
Good Afternoon Detroit. So
yeah.
we did a show at Trax in the afternoon where you were on TV. So you can see that on YouTube.
That's very cool. Now, was the Beat around at that time? Were you guys ever on the Beat or approached to do that show?
I think that happened. The Beat happened after I was out of the band, and I don't know.
Okay.
The other guys might have done it later on. Mm-hmm. The Beat was put out right. On PBS. Yeah, we were never on that, but the second iteration of the band might have been on there.
The other thing, other than that, because I remember that, because that was, on every Saturday night, was there were a lot of cable stations that had cable shows about local bands, especially downriver. Did you guys ever do any of those?
We did maybe a handful of those type of things, now that you bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were always less than something you'd want to share with people.
You mentioned, Riff and Wheels as far as that. Were you guys, on college radio at all, HFR or Wayne State or anything like that?
HFR for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to do some stuff with stations, out of the city a little bit, like Central and stuff like that. But we never really traveled there. We just got on the air, so I don't really know too much about that, except we got played a little bit. But.
Did Rob Roy ever tour at all as far as outside of the metro area? Did you ever, go out of state at all?
We never did. Again, these days, my stepson's in a band, and those guys tour all over the place. But back then, it wasn't such a thing.
Do you think that could have helped you as far as a deal at the time, or do you think it wouldn't have mattered as far as that?
I don't think it would have mattered. I mean, we did play out of town here and there, but without the promotional machine behind you, you can play in Cleveland or New York or whatever, mm-hmm. But you do one night and 15 people see you and it doesn't make a dent.
That's true. I just wondered if with management, they, there again, would book you out of state, opening up for somebody, maybe like the Stray Cats, like you had mentioned, that, could help promote that. And as for management, how did you go about getting management in those days? Did you typically put an ad in the Metro Times, hey, we're looking for a manager, or how did that come about?
Well, we started opening up for Toby Red a lot. Their manager approached us and said, hey, you want a manager?
So you're using the same people. Well, anyway, Jason, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to me today.
My pleasure, Jim. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. And I really look forward to this new project you're working on, and keep in touch with me through Terry or whatever, because I'd love to hear some of that music, because I know that if you and Graham are involved in it, whether it's like Rob Roy music or not, it's going to be, top level, top notch stuff, and I really look forward to hearing it.
Well, maybe when we're ready to do something, I'll call you up and bug you to help us get the word out on what we're doing.
Oh, so. Absolutely. I'd love to do that, but that means you'll have to get me some recordings at that time I can play and plug.
Deal.
All right. Again, sir, thank you so much, and you have a good evening.
You too, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
You, buddy. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that was Jason Kuehn, original guitar player from Rob Roy from back in the day. Sensational band, just top-notch class act. I just loved their music, loved the atmosphere they had. Like I said, from what I remember, and my memory is not as great as it used to be, but I remember there were always a lot of ladies at their shows, not to taint anything they were doing, because musically they were one of the best bands at that time. I'm to this day very surprised they didn't get signed and gone on to bigger things, but like you said, that's just more or less the nature of the business, and you just never know. But I'm glad to see that he is back working with Graham, and that they've got some new music on the horizon, and I really look forward to hearing that too. For those of you out there that may not be familiar with the band Rob Roy, you can check them out on the streaming services and, of course, on YouTube, and you won't be disappointed. Like I said, they were just one of the best bands from, the mid to late 80s into the 90s and a bit beyond. Hey, are you into vintage audio gear? Well, if you are, you need to check out my friends at 7 Grand Audio. They're at 25642 7 Mile Road in Redford Township. The phone number over there is 313-533-5635. The owner, Dash, and his assistant, Harry, have been in the business for over 40 years, and they can fix anything as far as audio equipment, whether it be receivers, turntables, tape decks, EQs, and it doesn't have to be vintage. It's just that that's pretty much what they specialize in, but they can do anything. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. They fix everything right the first time. So if you go over there, make sure you tell them Jimmy sent you. And as I like to always say, keep rocking.
Consider the things I missed. So Mr. Conductor, we arrive on time. I said, I think my watch is stopped. I can see her now.